There's one credit card out there that if I got approved for, I would never ever cancel it. And I've applied for it prior and didn't get it, and I'll share that story soon. But it's the World of Hyatt credit card by Chase. And Hyatt has two different variations. One is a personal card, one is a business card. And in this video, I'll be just talking about the personal card. But the bigger question and the value of this video is to understand, for anyone that's watching, is the World of Hyatt card even worth considering for your setup? And with the caveat of Hyatt points can be earned not just through this card, but there's some other fabulous cards where you can earn Hyatt points through transferring from, when you're swiping those cards and then transferring to Hyatt's program, you're still getting Hyatt points to be earned and then redeemed. So do you even need this card? So with all that context, let's get straight into it. The World of Hyatt card comes with a sign-up bonus of 60,000 points, and these offers will consistently change just over time. And in general, it's a very specific offer, and these are the details. We're looking at 30,000 points after $3,000 in minimum spend in the first 3 months. And in the first 6 months, up to $15,000 in spend, you could be looking at an additional 30,000 points earned. So although it sounds like 60,000 points, it's really a guaranteed 30K after 3K in spend, and then you're essentially earning 2 points per dollar spent on the first $15,000 spent, inclusive of that first 3K tranche. So that's where it's basically 30K plus another up to 30K. So if you don't actually spend 15K in the first 6 months with this card, then you're not even looking at that full 60,000 point bonus. The big selling point for this card is going to be its earn rate as well as benefits. So from an earn rate perspective, you're looking at 4 Hyatt points per dollar spent when you're directly spending with Hyatt. And why this matters is there's other cards, which I'll get to after having our base case of like, what does this card have to offer, where you could get, let's say, 3 points per dollar spent, and you can transfer 3 points at a 1-to-1 ratio to Hyatt's program. So if you're getting 3 points per dollar spent on these other cards, this card, the value is you're getting that 1 extra point. So in other words, 4 points per dollar spent for each and every dollar with Hyatt. And on the site, it's advertised as, hey, you can get like 9x points per dollar spent. But what that's really saying is the pure credit card spend is 4x points per dollar. And then just by being a World of Hyatt member, which is just like free to join, you're going to get 5 points per dollar. But without getting into too deep in status of Hyatt in this video, as you go up the status levels, then basically every dollar you spend, instead of 5 points per dollar by being a member, then as you go up the tranches like Discoverist, Explorist, Globalist, then you'd be earning more points per dollar spent, but that's irrespective of having the credit card or not. From there, we got 2x points per dollar spent on the following categories: fitness clubs and gym memberships, local transit and commuting, airline tickets when you're spending directly with the airline, and restaurants, and 1x everywhere else. Coming to the benefits, the biggest one for me, which is why if I get this card, I would never cancel it, is because each and every year, for an annual fee of $95 at the time of recording, you're going to get 1 free night to a category 1 to 4 hotel with Hyatt. And again, without going over all the categories, 1 to 4 is sufficient enough to say, let's say those nights may be around, peaking out around $300, I would say, a night, but depends on like the actual geography of where you are. In other words, you're trading $95 today to then get this free night, which could be, let's just say, even 150 post-tax or towards 200, you're basically coming out ahead if you were going to stay there anyways. And one more on top of this is that each and every year, if you spend 15K on the card, then you'll get an additional award night. So realistically, you'd be looking at kind of 2 nights in a whole year, assuming you're organically spending this, 1,000 change a month, whatever that math is, on this card, or however you want to look at, how that 15K is spent through the Hyatt card. So at this point, what we've covered so far, if like you don't care about status at all, basically what are the selling points of this card? Trade some annual fee money, you get a free night, you're kind of getting free value, you could say, right? If this is a part of your lifestyle and you're not, going out of your way to redeem that 1 free award night each and every year. And more than that, I would say that it's the 4x Hyatt points per dollar spent when you're spending with Hyatt. But like, if you don't care about status at all, but you are spending with Hyatt, then the main question would be like, how much are you actually spending at Hyatt if you don't care about status, but you care about earning points in general? So this is one of those situations where, only you can answer this question. At the same time, the 2x on all of these categories, there's other cards where maybe you can earn 3x or let's say even more, just depending on the scenario. So do you even need this Hyatt card to then earn Hyatt points in general? So if you take away all the things, for me personally, I may or may not put that much spend on this card if I get it, but why not, get those 2 free nights if it made sense? Where the first free night makes perfect sense. I do nothing, you get a free night. And there's other hotel cards just like this with like the IHG Premier card by Chase or like the Marriott versions, not all of them, but they're different hotel cards that are just out there where you get a free anniversary night just by holding the card. So like why not? And when you do the math on the additional 15K spent each and every year for that extra award night, it really just comes down to the math. For example, what is 2% of 15,000? It's going to be 300 bucks. So in other words, if you're getting a 300 night, reward or award, and you would also spend $300 out of your pocket, I think that's the big asterisk for many people. Yes, there's value to be received by trading points for value, but would you spend said value? So if you're getting a $300 night for that additional 15K in spend as your, token of like thanks basically, right, for this extra reward, then it's like you're getting 2% cash back, which that's cool, but you could also have spent 15K on any other card in most cases where 2% you could actually get maybe let's say 2x miles instead. And so that could be like an extra, worth of value apart from everything else. And you may have more flexibility instead of just being locked into like everything Hyatt or just having one extra award night, which now you have a 3-day vacation and you're like, oh, I have 2 award nights. But then you realize when you start looking into stipulations, like, oh, I can only use one award night for a whole reservation. And there's like restrictions and this and that and the other. And so every program is going to differ. So without getting too nuanced, the value for this card, I would say, is that free night per year if you do nothing different. And if you're actually at Hyatt spending consistently, then there's actually a few more benefits, which I'll go over now. There's essentially 3 main items. So when you just join, you're a member, but let's say you get to the next tier of status, you're going to be at Discover status. And from there, you also get for every 5K you spend every year, 2 extra Elite Night credits, which would basically help you get to the next level of status. And each and every year, you get 5 additional Elite Night credits just by having the card. So in other words, by doing nothing really different, you're basically at, +1 level of status out of 4 levels. You're at the second tier, and you already have a 5-night head start. So if you're staying very consistently, it could definitely help you. And if you're not really going to stay at Hyatt's, then whether you have 5 or even 10 free nights, like, yeah, it helps, right? Like on paper, but is there really tangible value is basically a no. Now coming to the flip side argument, let's assume that we already know this card, if we get it, we could just keep it forever as long as we have a nice use case of like this one award night per year. Great, that's out of the way. What's on the other side? The other side is there's cards like the Chase Sapphire line of cards or even the BILT Mastercard by Wells Fargo, where essentially with Hyatt being a partner, this changes the whole game. When it comes to the Chase Sapphire line of cards, the reason I bring this up, and without talking about anything with the business card kind of setup with Chase or in general in this video, I would say that you basically have the capability to transfer your points to partners. Now, if you have no annual fee versions of Chase cards like the Chase Freedom Unlimited, Chase Freedom Flex, you could be earning 3 times per dollar spent in terms of ultimate reward points, which is Chase's currency, and then transfer those over to Hyatt, which that's great. But with those no annual fee cards, you actually don't have the capability to transfer to partners, which is why you need this annual fee version of a Chase Sapphire Preferred or Reserve. Now, if we have these cards and it all makes sense to keep in a part of your lifestyle, then the value here is that when you're earning these ultimate reward points, in general, they're a variable currency. So you don't need to be locked into the Hyatt ecosystem, but if you choose to, you can choose to transfer all the points you earn to Hyatt's program. So yeah, you're not going to get a free award night every year because you don't have the Hyatt card. But if you have these other cards, you just have the capability for the points flexibility. If you don't care about really status or these other elements, this is where I would say you don't even need the World of Hyatt card, where this use case makes perfect sense. That being said, with the annual fees, there are fees. It's greater than a $0 value. Where the World of Hyatt card, we see a pure negation where, okay, $95 annual fee, as long as in theory you get at least 95 bucks back, all else equal, then you've basically broken even, right? But now with the BILT Mastercard by Wells Fargo, there's no annual fee. So with a no annual fee card, and you're getting 3x points per dollar spent on dining, in general, there's other categories as well, but 3x per dollar means what? You can also transfer those 3x to Hyatt. And what that really means is, just like that, without having the Hyatt card, there's other ways to earn Hyatt points, other ways to funnel in Hyatt points at a no annual fee level and still redeem for Hyatt nights over time. And the value of this, really, Hyatt in general, it's understood. It's like, okay, 2 cents per point. And in English, that's basically saying, all right, so for 5K points, you can get, let's say, a $100 room or more, or for 3,500 points sometimes because it goes as low as that. And I would also say that you could have, let's say, 20,000 points in terms of Hyatt. That could mean more than $400 of value. It could mean 600 or even 800. Depends where you are. And the question comes up, right? Like, would you spend that through, your own means? But also, maybe that's the point of points, is for you to have luxury type of experience, or, lifetime type of memory. And so to each their own. Overall, I've stayed almost 100 lifetime nights with Hyatt. And I would say that I have just enough experience when it comes to status matching, status challenges, and kind of getting more of that value with everything Hyatt. And I'm happy to make another video kind of more taking a deep dive into status, my experience, and kind of what I learned and how you could actually get, I want to say, max value. I don't want to guarantee it, but a lot more value than just this 2 cents per point and other just intangibles and priceless type of experiences out of life with everything points, miles, and yes, specifically with Hyatt. So if you came this far, I'd love to hear what you think. Comment down below, like, subscribe, all the things, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.